Hi, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Welcome to another edition of the OL Assembly. This is the February special, which takes after the Valentine's theme. And I'm joined here by my co-host. I am Karishma Sushil Kumar from the batch of 2005, and we are live here in the Lovendale studio.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Karishma. It's such a nice thing to be back for this Valentine's Day special. Now, my name is Vinod. I'm from the batch of 96, Aravali. It's so nice, isn't it, that we all know that school is, famous for, all-round development. But it's so overwhelming to see the number of couples who started their journey after they met in school. So looking forward to a blockbuster evening of all the events that we've planned together. So over to you, Sham.
Thanks, Vinod. Hi, everyone. I'm Sham from the batch of 2005, and I'm really honored to be a guest host on this Valentine's Day special assembly. We've got a lot planned for you, and we've got some fantastic things coming up. But we're not just celebrating all those who found their love in Lovedale. We're also going to be celebrating those who have played a huge role behind the scenes in school romances, as well as those who probably never could get a romance. So keep watching.
That's exactly right, guys. We are featuring a lot of the couples. I'm going to call them OL couples. These are folks who married or partnered with OLs. These are OLs who partnered with OLs. We've identified about 60 of them over the course of all of the different batches. And we've got at least 40 couples who participated in today's variety entertainment. I'm really excited to take you there. But we'll always start with, a few blessings from the OLA committee. We've got the OLA committee's vice president, Elizabeth Beena Bediapa, and she'll be joining us to speak to us and tell us, share a few words. We'll also be joined by Sudhir Rao, who is currently on the board, apart from also being one of the couples featured in today's show. So welcome, Beena Auntie and Sudhir Uncle. So wonderful to have you guys here.
Thank you. Thank you, Karishma.
Good evening, everyone. Great to be back with our next assembly. And this time, to suit the date around the weekend, that's tomorrow, February 14th, it's Valentine's Special Assembly. Yes, there is love in the air. We have all had our fair share of puppy love and crushes on the campus. So now it's time to celebrate it. When we decided on this theme, we never realized that we had so many OL couples and staff couples, 60 plus. It's amazing that some found their Valentine on the campus, some who met up after school days at college, and some even directed towards their Valentine, but none other than their parents itself. It's been a humongous effort by the OL Assembly team for this event, and we know we may have missed a few, but it was not intentional. Even we had a lot of fun contacting the couples, getting photos, video clippings, and putting together this action-packed event. And we really thank all our participants for their cooperation. I must thank the team for their tireless work on it too. On behalf of the OLA, a big shout out to each and everyone who spearheaded and participated in the rescue operations of Tanaz Noble, batch of 2002, very recently from an extremely critical situation. It was posted all over social media, so not going into details. Kudos, guys. You did this in the true alumni spirit, united in adversity, especially cutting across batches. And that is the actual strength of the alumni. And it's not just batch unity. Coincidentally, at our last event, the OL Nation, we featured two of our OL men in uniform, and we were so proud of them. It's these services people, among many others, who reached out and made it happen. Before signing off, I'd like to make a mention of the passing away of our first Olderentian board member, Mr. V. Narayan, batch of 1953. He was on the board of governors during the time of the legendary headmaster, Mr. K.I. Thomas, who had the greatest regard for him. Mr. Narayan was the chairman of Ponds India and had a very illustrious corporate career, and he did the alumni very proud. May his soul rest in peace. Thanks once again, everyone. Let me now hand you all over to Sudhir Rao, batch of 76, our OL rep on the board, unfortunately without his Valentine. And after that, all of you sit back and enjoy the variety entertainment.
Thank you very much, Bina, for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. Good evening to everybody. And yes, my wife, Gitanjali Rao Potsha, batch of 1980 is not here, but she's right there behind me in terms of that bouquet, and you'll understand that significance of that bouquet there a little bit later in the show as well. You know, I have a tendency to get very emotional when it comes to things to do with Lovedale. So please pardon me if I overshoot the time that I have. What I'd like to start off, given the theme, and there may be some serious elements of that, of what I'm about to say. So please forgive me ahead of time on a wonderful, happy occasion like Valentine's Day for bringing up some of those. With that, how did we become an OL couple? Well, her two elder brothers, Chetan and Rahul Shah, my batch 76, were my classmates. And Rahul, the younger one, was also with me in college in Pilani. So knew each other a long, long time. And then in 1982, I was in Madras doing my first job, and that's when Gitanjali and I met. Ended up staying at her place as a guest for a few months and then never left. So that's the story of how we met. And the very strange part of that is that her brothers' pigeonhole numbers were 26, 27, and guess who was 28? Me. And this was in Jamna House in prep school. So I think destiny had written this way back in February of 1969. When we were 9 and 10 years old. Lovedale obviously evokes a strong sense of love. And, I wanted to do something about how do I bring in the strand that, many old Laurentians might have into their memories of school, rather than just talk about my feelings about school. So I sent out a little thing to everybody and said, please give me one word for your memories of Lovedale. What does Lovedale mean for you? And I sent it out to about 80 and got 75 responses. And no surprise, about half of them talked about Lovedale being home. And I'll just quote some of them. Johnny, our OL president, his thing was, it is more than a home. Another Laurentian 2020 head boy, 2000 head boy V. Bharat, his thing was, Lovedale is pure, unadulterated joy. So this is what Lovedale means for all of us. It's that pull of that institution. Rahel Chakola, both of whose parents are also Laurentians and my batchmates. Her one word was identity. She said, that's what defines who I am. So it's a strong pull of this friendship. And I'd like to quote something that two of my batchmates said. One is Gokul Krishnan, who's also, by the way, an OL couple. And his phrase was intensity of the old school tie. So that actually is what prompted me to dress a bit more formally today. I was going to be a lot more casual until I read Gokul's message. And one of my dear friends, Vinod Kumar, again my batchmate, he wrote a wonderful little sentence. He says, what Lovedale means for me is friends and friendship. And here's the important thing. Friendship for what you are and not what you have. I thought that was so profound that I wanted to share that, with you. I asked some, there were several other strands of thought as well. The second thing that was mentioned by about a third of the people who got back to me was how Lovedale has built so much of their character, how it is such a strong part of their foundation and who they are. But Lovedale also had its complexities. It was not a great experience for everybody. I, for one, was a complete sort of a non-entity, if you will, in school, hiding in the woodwork, and not a great sports person. So there were many such in Lovedale. And I'd like to again quote two people. Unfortunately, I am not sure. I think I can share their names, at least one of them. One is Arjun Rao, whose father was also Laurentian and on the board. And he wrote a list of things about what Lovedale meant for him. Passion, emotion, disgruntlement, disillusioned, love, romance. And he was vice head boy. And so as a leader of the school, this is what Lovedale meant. And most interestingly, my uncle, Ram Mohan Rao, and who was my image of Mr. Tough. And he had the reputation, he was called Gunny, 1969. There are other Gunnies as well. And he always had this reputation. And in my mind, till today, he epitomizes the tough image. And the one word he came back with about what Lovedale meant to him in school was bullying. And this was a man who probably fought against bullying, and no, definitely fought against bullying, protected the weak. And I want to build on that to say something else that another head boy of about say 15 years ago said, and a person who's young enough obviously to be my son, but wise and mature enough to be as old as my father. He says, complex emotions is what Lovedale brings back. In brackets, hate, love, honor, violence, laughter. For good or bad, an important part of my story. And the reason I mention this is that it's amazing how, despite all these experiences, when we think of Lovedale, we still are universally fond of that institution. And I believe the reason that is the case is something that is well encapsulated by Viju, a batch of 68. And one of the first idols, if you will, that I had, because somehow I remember reading in the Laurentian that Viju Parmeshwar went to IIT Bombay, and I think he got a perfect 5 on 5 on the ISC exam. And so I just somehow remember that. And his brother was my classmate, Venu Parmeshwar, and their dad, by the way, was on the first board that was constituted by Mr. Vyas in the early 70s on a new charter for the school that is prevalent even till today. And these were his words. He says, I'm grateful, and I have this gratitude because it did a great job molding me into a decent adult that may not have happened as well if I had been at home going to a day school. I thought it was so lovely. And I'd like to now mention something that M.M. Murugapan, Again, somebody whom I consider as a little bit of a mentor, a person I go to for advice and wisdom in times of need. And he said, Sudhir, the one word for me is character. And a large part of that character came from our teachers. And Mohan Jacob said that that was English teachers. It made me reflect, and this is something I'm going to also be discussing with Mr. Nair, is I wonder if today's English teachers see their role as explaining English literature beyond what is needed for exam taking and going to the depth of what some of the essays that and stories and plays that are taught in English literature. And so that's something about our character. I'd like to end, sort of as I transition towards the end, going back to the notion of love. Lovedale means a lot for everybody. It's a strong network. And for me, as a no-Laurentian, what do I feel proud of? What are my memories? And what is, in my little way, do I think I've given back to Lovedale over time? And I think the thing I feel proudest of is I had an opportunity when we were building up the Renault organization a decade ago to bring in a lot of young blood. And we had about 7 Laurentian children, 3 others, so a total of 10 young people. And 2 of those people whose fathers actually specifically were both Laurentians, met and are now married, got married a few years ago. So that is my, other contribution to love in Lovedale, if you will, and the whole Valentine's Day theme. I'm very happy for them. And I'm incredibly fond of that young couple, Vishal and Kavya. Before I end, I'd like to draw upon 2 things. One is a word that my batchmate, Suresh Kumar, sent, and he said, wisdom. And we call him SK fondly. He's a lovely person. And he went on to elaborate. He says, Mr. Mulki, that was my nickname, wisdom is no simple word. Here is its meaning. Wisdom, sapience, or sagacity is the ability to think and act using knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense, and insight. Wisdom is associated with attributes such as unbiased judgment, compassion, experiential self-knowledge, self-transcendence, and non-attachment. And importantly, virtues such as ethics and benevolence. That describes so well what I took away from Lovedale. And it made me then conclude with the following thoughts from another classmate of mine who unfortunately passed away in the line of duty. His sister, brother, and his niece. And Philippos Painamutul, his one word was integrity, which defines so much of what Lovedale means for all of us. And here's what Sarah had to say. She said, Lovedale for me, was a microcosm of an ideal India, a level playing field where everyone got equal opportunity to find themselves. And I'll end and thank you all very much for your patience. I'm sorry I went way over here. From her niece Mariam, 2004 batch, I believe, from Sarah's daughter Mariam. It's from a hymn called The Four Freedoms. And this is what I'd like to leave you with, because this represents the values that are closest to my heart at this stage of my life, at this stage of where the world is. And it goes, freedom of speech and worship, and freedom from want and fear, where liberty's torch is gleaming, and our way of life is dear. Sing we a song of triumph, resounding from shore to shore. The flag of Lawrence now flies above, shall fly there forevermore, shall fly there evermore. We shall uphold those freedoms We never shall let them fade, with voices both strong and ready to speak, ever unafraid. Sing we a song of triumph, resounding from shore to shore. The flag of Lawrence now flies above, shall fly there forevermore, shall fly there evermore. Thank you so much, Mariam, for that and helping me close. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Sudhir Uncle. Wow, I mean, that was really eloquent. I mean, are we worthy? Thank you so much. Folks, for those who follow our other show as well, OL Nation, you probably recognize Sudhir Uncle there from there as well. You moderated a session. Thank you so much for bringing that eloquence and thought and reflection to us. You know what? It made me think of it's such a wonderful reminder of what love is and how broad and wide and deep it can be. And it includes all kinds of love, not just romantic love. There's friendship and there's solidarity. Thank you for that gentle reminder.
Thank you so much, Karishma. And I apologize to all the people I could not mention. Some wonderful, lovely people who responded. And I've tried to integrate as much of their thoughts as I could. Thanks, everybody.
It was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. All right, folks. Now we'll invite the Honorable Headmaster of the Lawrence School, Lovedale, Mr. Prabhakaran. Thank you so much once again for being here. We've got a little sneak peek into some of the updates it's going to give us. Really exciting stuff. Over to you, Mr. Prabhakaran.
Okay. Thank you, Karishma. Thank you for calling me and being a part of those wonderful celebrations. I'm also waiting to see those great events which are going to come now. There are some good news, in fact, very exciting news that the school is reopened. Class 10th and 12th, about 40% of class 10th and 12th students are come back. And on last week, that is 29th and 30th of January. Now we have given one more window, that is 17th and 18th of Feb. So the class 9th and the class 11th is also coming. So it's a staggered entry, and also we are following a multiple system, a blended system, offline and online. The students who are here will attend the class after quarantine period, and the children who are at home, they have given a choice, they can follow online session. And the CBSE examination is going to be scheduled in May, 5th of May, and will end by first week of June. And this academic year is coming to an end, apart from class 10th and 12th boarding classes. March is academic, and new academic year is starting in first week of April. Our admission procedures are in progress, almost finalizing another couple of days, and not much of a withdrawal as such this term. And we are going ahead. Now we are waiting for more and more students to come, and it's a good start. 40% of students in 10th and 12th are back. Another 40-45% is going to come next week with class 9th and 11th. And we don't have much of an idea when the school is going to reopen from 8th standard below, that is 5th to 8th standard. Maybe another 2-3 months it might open up. So life is coming back to normal. Students are all fine, and we are also adding a little bit of physical component also, and social distancing and physical distancing and safety, hygiene, these are all well maintaining. These are the priority, and life is going on slowly, coming back to normal. And I like the word love in Lovedale. That's great. Love, romance is a part of life, of course. When you talk about holistic education, you cannot take romance and love from that. That's also part of expressing and expressing our feelings, and that's also part of life. That's very important. We go through that so that we understand the real essence and meaning of it. Thank you very much, and I'm waiting to see the coming events, and if there is anything specific, I will definitely informing you. And thank you very much for your support and patience. Thank you.
Thanks again, Mr. Prabhakaran, and I hope you heard that, folks who are in school. Your headmaster is pro Bavindale, guys. Go for it. Am I right? Thank you so much once again. We're so excited for you, and I'm sure the weather sort of is matching this uplifting sort of moment you're having at school with the bright faces. I mean, I can even see it in your face. It's wonderful.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we're going to get started with the variety entertainment, guys. So we'll start with a little musical number. It's by Johann Chaco, batch of 91. And he will be taking us through Love Me Do by the Beatles.
Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Whoa, love me do. Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Whoa, love me do. Someone to love, somebody new. Someone to love, someone like you. Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me too. Whoa, love me too. Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me too. Whoa, love me too. Yeah, love me too. Whoa, love me too.
I just want to say, if anybody's getting ideas, please do not follow on your instinct to create an app for oils. I think that was just for our pleasure to this evening. So those are some couples who will also be featured in some other segments in today's show. What we're going to do now is, one thing is I'm going to call out the fact that I kind of, in my over enthusiasm, talked about how we had identified 60 couples. It was really 60 people, and 40 people have participated in today's show. Now, why I mentioned that is, who would have been number one, right? That's Henry Lawrence. So the next segment is into the tradition we've begun called Glimpses of a Glorious Past. Folks, this is an endeavor to document the history of our school and all things corollary to that. What you're going to hear next is selected readings from this endeavor. It's an ebook that you can find on our website, olalovedale.net. This selected reading is going to cover how Henry met the love of his life, Honoria. So that being the first couple of the Lawrence School Lovedale, here we go. Have a look at their story.
In writing Glimpses of a Glorious Past, an informal history of the Lawrence School Lovedale, I feel on reflection that we haven't done adequate justice to one person, and that is Lady Honoria Marshall Lawrence, the wife of our founder, Sir Henry Lawrence, KCB, especially in recognizing her role and contributions in many of his achievements. Remembering their love, in today's Valentine's Day special of the OL Assembly, our focus will be on Sir Henry and Lady Lawrence.
Honoria was born in Ireland on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1808, in the large family of Reverend George Marshall and Elizabeth Marshall. she was the 12th of 15 children. Given the circumstances, she was adopted and brought up by her maternal aunt and husband, Admiral Heath. They lived in a small farming community in the wilds of rural Ireland. She had no exposure to city life, but was encouraged to develop strong interest in reading, writing, and poetry. When she was 19, she met, for the first time, a second cousin, a man who lived in faraway India in a world totally different from the one she was used to. His name was Henry Lawrence. They had a quick courtship, during which she visited London for the first time in her life. Their romance was cut short after 2 weeks. Henry had to return to India, and she returned to the wilds of Ireland waiting for news from him. There wasn't much by way of progress since Henry returned to India in 1827. But they kept in touch, knowing of the progress being made by each of them through Henry's sister in England. She was a very good friend of Honoria's. The years passed by, and briefly, Honoria was engaged. It was only in 1835 that good fortune came Henry's way. He was promoted to the position of revenue surveyor. This made him financially strong enough to continue to contribute to the Lawrence Fund and afford to lead a married life in India.
Meantime, in another quarter, events were happening which deeply affected his character and career. At home, Honorary Marshall, naturally misunderstanding his silence, had for a brief time engaged to a Mr. Briggs, and apparently a little later, she had left home to work as a governess, much to the displeasure of her friends, who, to use her own words, thought I was rather disgracing myself and them by exerting myself to be useful and independent instead of occupying the pleasant part of living among my friends. Letitia Lawrence seems to have told her brother how the land lay, for he assumed that his marriage project was checked. If anyone is to blame, I am the culprit, as I am the sufferer, he wrote, and he flung himself with abandonment into his work, bidding his sister always to tell him where Honoria was and to keep in touch with her. His apparent reverse was all the more galling because in June 1835, he received promotion as full surveyor, and he was now well able to face both the cost of his share of the Lawrence Fund and the financial consequences of marriage. A year later, on June 21st, 1836, the sky suddenly cleared, Letitia once more acting as his good angel, and he wrote to Honoria Marshall that he would gladly meet her where she liked, either Madras or Calcutta. This was his formal proposal. The Reliance reached Calcutta after 81 days, somewhat ahead of schedule thanks to favorable winds.
Not wanting to repeat an earlier mistake, in 1836 he wrote, proposing to her. Consequently, she set sail for India in 1837. After an 81-day voyage in the Reliance, she reached Calcutta, only to find that Henry was not there. He was then based far away in the foothills of the Himalayas. It took him a long time to travel, over 1,000 miles, in punishing hot weather to reach Calcutta. Finally, on August 21st, 1837, they were married after a wait of nearly 10 years. Then followed 17 years of a happy married life, in which she was the perfect partner for Henry. They complemented each other beautifully, and most of the observers write that she was a tremendous influence in molding his character and temperament. He was at times not an easy man to get along with, but she was able to bring out the best in him. He in turn encouraged her to take an active part in all his work. She, in fact, edited a lot of his literary work. She herself wrote poetry, and her observations of life in India during her time there from 1837 to 1854 were, more than a century later, published by her great-grandson John Lawrence in 1980. Sadly, she passed away aged 45 in 1854 in Mount Abu, leaving Henry totally devastated. It is wholly appropriate that she features in the monument to Sir Henry at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Equally significant is that Henry and Honoria are shown welcoming orphan children. This captures their shared interests, values, partnership, and above all, a love that stood the test of time.
Wow. Did you know any of that, Sham?
Actually, I did. Lady Honoria, she met her husband, Sir Henry Lawrence, of course, in India. But what is so special about that was that, their romance actually took a long time to bloom because Sir Henry Lawrence wanted to propose when he was a junior officer, but didn't have the money to do so. And that's what deterred their romance by a long time. So they actually carried on a courtship for almost a decade. And Sir Henry Lawrence actually proposed via a letter, and that's how she accepted. So yeah, that's really, it's part of what we're doing.
Slid into her DMs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guys, I just also want to tell you who our wonderful readers were. That was Rajika. I'm so sorry. That was Rajika Needev and Mike Hosper. Rajika was from batch of 72. And Mike from 1968. Thank you guys so much for your enthusiastic participation and helping us with that. Speaking of 1968, what we've got next for you is a song from that year. This is Those Were the Days, sung by our very own songbird, Sujata Visaria Ni Goyali, from the batch of 1980. Here we go.
Once upon a time back in our school days, sending over, waiting for a two-way, getting a laugh from a hot rod, then going for a treat to the tuck shop. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose, we'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. Da 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 da. Bringing special dresses for the social, it's still so clear in my mind. Wearing straps and sleeveless in the cold, we had such a wonderful time. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd lead the life we choose, we'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Apologies, guys. Classic pandemic virtual situation. On mute there. Hi, Vinod. Welcome back. Wasn't that lovely?
It happens, yeah.
Taking us through that song. What did you think of some of those photos?
I think it was wonderful. It was just wonderful, and I think it's so nice to see couples how they met and how they came back to school, and just putting that through a montage, and Sujata, of course, as brilliant as ever, right? So
that's right. So folks, we have a set of segments here for you. The first of which we're going to show you just now. We're going to call it the couple compilation. And this is where when we talked about all those wonderful folks who participated today and really chimed in on their stories. We'll split it into 4 different little bits. We have the first one here today.
Yeah. So I think, the first edition, we would be talking about, some vintage couples, right? I think let's start from there. I think it's only fair that we look at it in honor of seniority. And, it's very nice of them to have come on, right? So the first segment of this, we would be having 3 couples talk about their life journey, how they met in school and their life afterwards. The first, of course, is Anjali Ella Menon and Raja Menon of batch of 55. The next one is Nina and Sunil Nehru from batch of 62. And Jesse from the batch of 82, and Mohan Jacob from the batch of 71. So let's. I think I'm so excited to just listen to this. So let's just get straight into that. Is what I think.
Absolutely.
Gopal Menon, lately shortened to Raja Menon. My full name is Karan Radhagopal Menon, and that's also important because that's my house name. And when I went to Lawrence School, the children gathered on me and said, "Which house are you? Which house are you?" And I said, "Karan house." And they said, "There's no such house."
And I went to Lovedale after him. He was already in school. And we were in class together from the 8th class onwards. And he used to throw paper, spitballs at the back of my neck just to irritate me. And I found him the most irritating boy in the class. But when we came to class 10, a couple of years later, I was quite good in Hindi because I came from the north. And he was very good in maths. So he would help me a bit with my maths, and I would help him with his Hindi. Needless to say, I did very well in maths, and he failed in Hindi. But he used to be in the band, and the band used to be invited to Government House to play, and they would be given a very good feast. Now, in those days, in 1953, this was in Lovedale, we were always seemed to be hungry, and throughout his life, he never actually declared his love for me. It was in the form of a piece of chicken, brought from a chicken curry and wrapped in a paper napkin and put on my desk, which declared that he was a little interested. That was in class 10. And of course, by class 11, we kind of liked each other. And after school, where did you go?
I went to the National Defence Academy, and as a first timer, life is very hard. You don't know whether you're coming or going.
And somewhere in his 3rd term, I went to Delhi, where I was doing my degree. And somewhere in his 3rd term, on his way to Dehradun, he tried looking for me. By that time, we were not corresponding. But thereafter, we started a correspondence, which went on for many years. And we didn't marry really from, this was 1955 when we passed out of school. We both did quite well in our exams. And then finally, we didn't get married till 1962. So a long time had passed.
Hi everyone, I'm Nina and this is Sunil, my husband. Sunil and I both joined Lovedale in 1959 in class 8 at the age of 12, and we graduated in 62.
As you know, in Lovedale, in the younger years, boys and girls don't have much to do with each other. But in class 10 and class 11, Nina and I found ourselves jointly participating in many activities, in debates, elocution contests, the school play, and in the final year, we were also editors of the school magazine. We spent many hours together getting that out on time. So we became good friends.
And then one day I happened to mention to Sunil that I went to the art room every afternoon to paint. So from the very next day, Sunil started turning up there as well. At that time, our art teacher was Anjali Dev, who later married her school sweetheart, Raja Menon. So she immediately realized what was going on and she said, this is very funny. Sunil has showed no interest in art up to now, and now he's suddenly coming every afternoon. I think dal mein kuch kala hai.
And towards the end of our final year, one day, our headmaster, Mr. K.I. Thomas, walked into the class and announced that the school had been offered an OPOS scholarship, whereby an Indian student would be sent to an English public school to do his A-levels. He asked if anyone in the class was interested, and I was the only one that put up his hand. So he made an application on my behalf, and that was the end of it. I forgot all about it. The final exams were coming up. We had a lot of work to do, and I buckled down to my studies. Eventually, the exams were over, and it was time to go home. Nina and I said goodbye to each other, resolved to keep in touch, and then wrote to each other every week. I got a letter from her a few months later to say that her father had been posted to London as the naval attaché to the Indian High Commission. I was most dismayed by this news because it meant that I would probably not see her again. I kept on with whatever I was busy with and eventually joined IIT Kharagpur, where I started electronics engineering. 3 months into that course, I suddenly got a telegram from my father to say, "Come home immediately. Your OPOS scholarship is through and you are to go to England." I was over the moon. It meant that Nina and I could be together again. So we found ourselves in London. Nina went to school. I went to boarding school. We would meet every holidays. Eventually, her parents came back home to India. We stayed on. I went on to do engineering at Imperial College. Nina went on to do architecture, and we would meet regularly. At the end of our studies, when we graduated, we came home to India, and as soon as we could, we got married.
And so now we've been married for 52 years. We celebrated our golden wedding anniversary in 2018. We have 2 children. Our son is nearly 49 now, and he lives in London. He's got his own little computer business. Our daughter, who's 45, lives in Delhi with her family. And we have 2 grandchildren. Our granddaughter is nearly 19 and she's a model. And our grandson is 14.
So we always think about Lovedale. We remember our long and happy life together and always note that it was Lovedale that brought us together.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mohan Jacob, 63 to 71, Sumeru.
Jesse, used to be Rachel, Jesse Rachel Matthew, now Jesse Jacob, Matthew 83 Devdar. We got married in 1987.
In Kunuri.
February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Nobody had ever heard of Valentine's Day in 1987.
And we had an arranged marriage. And I think it went through because we were both Laurentians. And the proposal came from
my cousin,
who was also a Laurentian, Esther. And I think one of the nicest events was
going back to school.
Yeah, and when we went back to school, we met Kaka, Mabalu, Mr. and Mrs. Gupta, all who taught us.
Taught both of us.
Yes, taught both of us, so we remembered both of us. It was really nice. And the next really lovely thing was coming to Bangalore. So I was studying in Trivandrum, and after we got married, we came to Bangalore on a Sunday night. Monday early morning, Mohan went off to work, and I had no clue what to do. I didn't know any place in Bangalore, and there wasn't even food in the house for me to eat. And I was wondering what to do when the bell rang. And guess what? 2 of my Laurentian classmates, Cecily and Abhilasha, just landed up. And I said, "How did you know I was coming? I would be here today." She said, no, for the wedding, we asked Mohan and he told us that he had to report back for work on this particular day. So we figured out that you would be alone and we thought we'd come.
Thank you to all of you for being such a very special part of this journey and for sharing your love with us. But a very, very special mention to Jesse and Mohan, and a very happy Valentine's Day and anniversary to both of you. Now we have another special couple among many others coming up later in the assembly. But one that I do want to mention is our very own host from the earlier assemblies, Gul and Rishi, who are one of the special couples that we have with us today. There are a lot of stories that have come out in terms of romance from school, but a lot of those stories are only told late in the night in the dorms. So here's the OL Assembly's version of the original item from Greece, where we remember it as school dorm nights.
Yeah, that was nothing.
What'd you do this summer, Sandy? Oh, I spent most of it at the beach. I met a boy there. Well, he was sort of special. He was really romantic.
Come on, you don't want to hear all the horny details.
Schoolgirls, pretty young lasses.
School boys always making passes.
I met a girl just right for me.
Met a guy, cute as can be.
School days drifting away.
Do a whole those school dorm nights.
Tell me more, did you get very far?
Tell me more,
TBI
She walked by me and gave me a smile.
You drove by me, my heart ran a mile.
Talk to talk, she always would.
When he spoke, I was over the moon.
School fun, something's begun.
Do a whole those school dorm nights. Tell me more.
Was it love at first sight? Tell me more. Did you have sleepless nights? We were strolling down Lover's Lane.
The Tucker and Feminine.
Waited up near the outlaw.
We stayed out till time hits the clock.
School flings mean everything.
Do a whole those school dorm nights.
Tell me more. Does she love you by far?
Tell me more.
Do you think he's a star? He was friendly, playing in the bed.
Secret-friendly, holding my hand.
He was sweet, just unfitting.
You know what I mean?
Schools meet, boy and girl meet.
Do a whole those school dorm nights. Tell me more.
How much do we spend?
Tell me more. Could you get me a friend?
We left school, that's where it ends.
So I told her we'll still be friends.
Then we made our true love vow.
And we're both together now.
Whose dreams are all that we seem. But, oh,
Folks, if there's anyone you want to specifically hold accountable for prevailing upon your ears, wait till the end where we show you our names and faces of this OL assembly team. We're going to go on to the next piece, which is, if you've been following us on the assembly, we have something really fun called Quizdale. And this is where OLs come together in the spirit of questions and answers. And of course, this time the theme is love in Dale. Now, here's the leaderboard, if you've been following, of the houses. So people who win, they contribute points to their house. So here it is. We got Aravali at 0. Nilgiri at minus 200, Sumeru at minus 400, and Vindhya at 200. All right, so of course we know that there's a little bit of a difference in how houses were called and their names. We're just going to go ahead with the names that currently are in school with the colors. So let's see what happens to that leaderboard after the game this evening. Have fun.
Hello and welcome to the special Valentine's Day episode of Quizdale, the quiz game about Lawrence School Lovedale. I'm your host and quiz master Nataraj Kaushik from the batch of 1985. Today's episode is sponsored by the OL Assembly team. All participants in today's game will receive an OL lapel pin. Each couple a set of 6 coasters, and the winning couple his and hers t-shirts. My co-host is Sarita Aina, also from the batch of 1985. Over to you, Sari.
Hi, everybody. It's an OL couples Quizdale this time, and what fun is that? Welcome, and it's great to have you with us. You all look spectacular. This quiz game is standard and straightforward. There will be 5 rounds. L for love, O for one and only, V for Valentine, what else will it be, right? E for extraordinary, and R for romance. You can't get better than this. There will be a mix of questions in each round, and there is no connection between the name of the round and the questions. We've named the rounds just for some fun for this extra special Valentine's Day edition of Quizdale. All questions relate to experiences with having a crush, falling in love, and dating when we were in school. Each couple will get 1 question per round. All okay? Now remember, you're playing for your houses. So the points you together accumulate as a couple will be halved for your respective houses. Same as in life, all 50-50 with each other. Let's begin with introductions of each of you with your name, house, and batch. Pratik and Anaika, shall we start with you, please?
Yes. Thank you, Sarita. Hello, everyone. I'm Pratik Machaya from Aravali House, batch of 2006.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anaika. I'm from Nilgiri from the batch of 2006.
Thank you. Mike and Rajika.
Hello, I'm Rajika, 1972, Champak.
And I'm Mike Horsburgh. I was Nilgiri House, 1968.
Thank you. Jesse and Mohan.
Mohan, Sumeru, 53 to 71.
Jesse, batch of 83, Devda House.
Watson Sudhir.
Hi, everyone. Pot Shah, batch of 80 and Pankaj House.
Sudhir Rao, Vindhya 76.
Great. Now go have lots of fun. Back to you, Nati.
Thanks, Sari. Welcome, everybody, once more. This is how the game is going to be played, the rules of the game. There will be 5 rounds of questions. Each couple gets 1 question per round. Couples take turns to answer questions. All questions carry 100 points. Couples have 15 seconds to answer. Sari will keep time. The first answer given by anybody in the team will be considered the final answer. The quizmaster's decision is final. But remember, it's all about having fun. Points will be added to the couple's score for a correct answer. No points for a wrong answer. The couple which has the most points at the end of the game is obviously the winner. And as Sari said, individual points will be allocated to your respective house totals by splitting your team score between the individuals. Okay, let's get started. We'll start round one, L for love, with Gitanjali or Potts and Sudhir. Your question is, the green signal from both sides, you're in a relationship.
Two-way.
And you are correct.
Well
done.
I had attempted many a time for a two-way.
One sec. What she's not telling you is that she got a lot of two-ways coming her way.
So is there an interesting story you have from your time?
With Sudhir, no. But right from the day I started school in 4th grade, I think into 2 weeks I had my first crush and wrote my first love letter, which was caught by a friend of mine.
Awesome. Let's go on to Anika and Pratik. Your question is, where did folks treat their friend?
Duck shop?
And you are correct.
Oh, thank God.
Moving on to Rajika and Mike.
Right.
Your question is, the spookiest place to meet your Pookie?
Cemetery.
And you are correct.
Well done.
Well done.
That was quick.
And finally, Jesse and Mohan, your question is a value-added guard service.
Lookout.
And what is the lookout called in school?
KB.
And you are correct.
Yes.
Well done. So
I used to keep KB for a lot of my friends.
Nati, yeah, the scores. Sure.
Yeah.
So Potts and Sudhir with 100, Anika and Pratik 100, all are 100. Rajika and Mike 100, Jesse and Mohan 100. Well done.
Well done. Good start, everybody. So moving on to round two, we'll start with Anika and Pratik.
Okay.
And can you give us a story or interesting incident that you might have from your school days?
Well, the story would have to be about how we started dating, I guess. I was chasing Anika for a while from the 9th standard, and I guess she really didn't know. We went our separate ways, and then finally we were in the 12th standard, and thanks to a very dear friend of mine, Anika was heartbroken. And then I just happened to come along, and the rest is history, I guess. So I have my dear friend to thank for this relationship.
So your friend took you up in his own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. So this is round O for one and only. And here's your question, Anika and Pratik. Cross out letters to ascertain one's relationship future.
Flame.
Of flames?
Yes, flame or love like
Flame.
hate or. So you are correct.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it was love like hated or for us, and
Okay. Yeah, different generations.
yeah, flame came much later. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the next is Rajika and Mike. Using an intermediary to express your liking.
Send somebody over to.
To send somebody over? Send over.
And you are correct.
Oh.
You are right. We'll move on to Jesse and Mohan. You needed a sick excuse to meet here.
Hospital.
Hospital.
And you will be correct.
Yes. The questions are all too easy, I think, Nati. Everybody's getting it.
Finally, Sudhir, here's your question. What is unrequited love called?
Chop. Chop.
Sorry, it's a one-way.
One way. Sorry.
No worries. Unfortunately, you don't get the points. So at the end of 2 rounds, sorry, where do we stand?
Potts and Sudhir at 100 and the others at 200.
Well done, everybody. You're doing really well.
I should learn to shut my mouth up.
Round B for Valentine, we'll start with Rajika and Mike.
And we need a story.
Yes. What is your story, Mike and Rajika?
The hospital.
Oh, okay. Incidentally, Mike and I didn't go out with each other in school. We met up a lot later, but we were good friends. And I was in hospital with jaundice, and these Mike, his brother, Nikhil Chatterjee, were all about to sit their mock exams, and they didn't want any distraction either. So they sent all their records and their record player to the hospital so that I could enjoy the music that they were listening to.
How sweet.
Very nice.
So nice.
Mind you, there's quite, I was quite young then. I must have been about 12 years old and they were finishing school. So.
Rajika, he was trying even then.
Yeah. You just
I used to think that she would make a good wife for the future.
So here's your question, Rajika and Mike. Popular format for carving one's love.
School desk, I think.
Well, yeah. So let's say on a desk or on a tree trunk or on your palm, how would you carve? What is the
With
format?
a compass.
Compass.
Pardon?
Yeah, but what did you put? What did you put over there?
Heart and arrow. Well, so our answer is your names A plus B. So Rajika plus Mike or Mike plus Rajika. So unfortunately, I'm not going to give you the points for this one. And so we move on now to Jesse and Mohan. Your question is, a quiet place where you left chits with sweet nothing in books.
Library.
And you are correct.
Yes.
Luckily, your first answer was library.
No, we both may get it.
Thoughts and Sudhir, here. Token of love.
Egg on bread at tuck shop, coconut bread.
Well, you at least got close to the food part of it, but it's chocolate.
Okay.
Egg on bread.
I only got egg on bread.
Oh man.
That's something that a lot of people used to just feed her because she had a lot of tuck shop anyway with chocolate and stuff like that. So, by the way, I thought this was because you asked us about token of love. So I had a surprise for Gitanjali here. For the first time in my life, I've actually gone and got stars for the first time in my life.
How sweet. How sweet.
Congratulations.
Lawrence School quizzes. This is the first
Yeah.
gift from Sudhir in all our 38 years.
Sudhir
Now
is
this is a
blushing.
two-way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, she gave him a yeah.
Hey,
Finally.
Oh.
I had to consciously do all this, go to Khan Market, make up a reason why I was going there, pre-order everything.
Sudhir, I think you deserve 1,000 points for this. 1,000 points, I think.
If Sudhir were in Sumeru, I would have given the 1,000 points. All right. So moving on to Anaika and Pratik. Here's your question. Where is Lovers Lane?
Outside band room. Between Flagstaff and band room. My favorite lane.
Yes, you are correct. Between Flagstaff and band
You
room.
got it right. And it came to you all correctly because we didn't know where Lovers Lane was. I don't think we had it in our time.
Yeah, exactly. It's more from your time.
Yeah.
It was a very popular lane during our times in school. So thank God this question came to us.
That came much later. Good.
All right. So at the end of 3 rounds, sorry, do you want to give us the score?
Watson, Sudhir, you're still at 100.
I know, we're lagging.
300.
Don't we get some bonus points to bring
For
us
the
next
flowers?
Huh? No. If we answer correctly next time, do you give us some bonus points?
I think the flowers deserve the bonus. I just think
the flowers were the best.
I got the bonus. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Sudhir has won hearts, not any points here.
Rajika and Mike 200 and Jesse and Mohan 300.
All right. Well done, everybody. So far, so good. So we'll start with Jesse and Mohan this time in round 4, E for extraordinary. Jesse and Mohan, what's your story?
Our story, we had an arranged marriage.
How did that happen?
So the proposal came from Mohan's cousin who met me in Oman. My parents were there, and she's an older Orangian herself. Esther, she was, I think, the vice head girl. Mohan, which batch?
1965.
65. So she met me, and then she told Mohan's father, and that's how the proposal came.
So, as she always says, I finished school before she joined, 6 years before she joined. So there's no way we could have.
But hey,
those
like
6
that
years,
plan
Mohan
for
never
you.
came to school. So we've never met in school, and even after.
This is awesome, though. Nice story.
Really nice story.
You, I guess, you were destined to meet at some point.
Yeah.
So, Jesse and Mohan, here's your question. The extraordinary moment. Request approved. Love beckons.
Give a yeah.
Get a yeah is correct, or give a yeah is correct. Excellent.
Jesse, you're good.
I know. You seem to have experience, is all I can say.
In spite of never having had a two-way in school.
It was question for Gitanjali and Sudhir, no?
Okay, let's try get this one.
So it's a musical location for a romantic rendezvous.
Behind the band room.
And you are correct. Even got the behind the band room. So then let's move on to Pratik and Anaika. Fill in the blank. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for letter, blank.
Boy?
Can you speak up?
Boy?
Yeah, you're correct. So the complete thing.
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for letter, 4 for boy.
You are correct. Okay, and the last question to Rajika and Mike. A holy place for unholy trysts.
Churchyard.
Churchyard
I think
is
you'll
correct.
have to share the.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, give us the scores.
Okay, so the scores are Potts and Sudhir at 200, Anaika and Pratik at 400, Rajika and Mike at 300, and Jesse and Mohan at 400 as well.
Okay, well done, guys. Here's our last round, R for Romance. We'll start again with Sudhir and Gitanjali.
Okay.
And your question is the much anticipated co-ed dance.
Dinner and dance.
Dinner and dance.
Did you have a term for the dance?
Ballroom dance, was it called?
Dance?
Large hall dance? I don't know. I mean, we just knew it as dinner and
Oh,
dance.
social.
So, sorry.
It was called a jig or social.
It wasn't called that in our time. It was
No,
just
it
called
wasn't
the
called
Independence Day and the Republic Day dance.
We do understand that, across eras things might change, but hey, we have something for everybody here. So it was called jig or social at different times. Okay.
Yeah.
Anaika and Pratik, your turn. Crushed by a no for an answer.
We're just gonna guess this one. We have no idea. But since we heard giver, yeah, we're gonna say giver. Nah, nay, no.
Sorry, you got the chop.
Yeah. The chop. Oh, got the chop. Yes. Clearly, these two didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
He was saying heartbreak. He's like, is it heartbreak? I'm like, I don't know.
Got the chop.
Okay, Rajika and Mike, your turn. A wooded rendezvous behind the church.
Oh,
please.
was that what we used to call Sherwood Forest?
And you will be correct.
Very good.
Oh,
Yes.
Excellent. And Jesse and Mohan, your question. How does one refer to a kebab mein haddi or third wheel?
Jesse?
No clue.
No, absolutely.
Spare wheel?
Okay, let's give you a hint. It's a fruit.
It's a fruit.
No.
Forbidden fruit. Khatti.
Sagre. No. No clue.
Well, that's as close as we can give you, but it was a gooseberry.
Yeah.
I said gooseberry.
Yeah, she just said it.
Oh,
I said
Gooseberry.
gooseberry.
okay. I guess you just got it in time before I displayed
Yeah.
the thing. So, okay. So you got it. It's a gooseberry. And so you got the points. And so we've come to the end of our game. And Sari, do you want to give us the scores?
Yeah, so Potts and Sudhir at 200 and the rest are tied. Do we go? Oh, sorry. Anaika and Pratik are 400. Yeah, Rajika and Mike are 400 and Jesse and Mohan are 500. Oh. Okay, so great.
The winners are Jesse and Mohan for this edition of Quiz Day. Well done, guys.
Yay!
We just winged that.
You squeaked in right at the last minute.
Yeah.
This is what we did in school also. Last minute, that was just sort of winged past.
All right.
Mike,
Cool.
Mike, you're supposed to speak very fluent Tamil. Please speak for us.
ஒண்ணு தெரியாதுமா அப்படி சொல்லுமா என்ன தொந்தரவு இருக்கியா
Really fun, everybody. I mean, thanks for making it a great game. You guys were all very fun. Good participation.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks for meeting everybody.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Yep. Let me just. So that brings us to the end of today's game. We will be back with another episode of Quizdale in the next OL Assembly. If you want to participate and be a winner in this fun game, please write to us at olalovedale@gmail.com. That email address again is olalovedale@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, a very sweet and special Quizdale indeed. Hosted by our very own Nati and Sarita. Now, obviously, a lot of these couples have fought very hard for those points, but I guess Jesse and Mohan are celebrating an extra victory today, especially with it being their anniversary tomorrow. And a special shout out to Sudhir for actually teaching us there's still a lot left to be done in getting a yaw. But for now, let's just have a quick look at Feb's leaderboard to see where the houses stand. We've got the greens coming in at 600, the yellows at 500, with Nilgiri or the maroons following in at -400, and the blues coming in at -350. So if you want to win points for your house, make sure that you participate in Quizdale in our next assembly. A pizza is a very, very integral part of school romances, but they very often go unacknowledged because they're behind the scenes. So in our very own traditional way, we thought about how we could honor those who go beyond the odds and get for us whatever we need. There is nothing impizzable for a pizza. So here's presenting to you Mission Impizzable.
Absolutely. So I know no pizzas were involved in making of that movie, but I think it was good fun putting that together. And oh my God, I know pizzas, the unsung heroes of all Lovedale romances. I'm sure many Laurentians, young and old, will recall, the role of the pizzas and acknowledge that. So that was a little tribute to pizzas in this entire Valentine's Day special. Moving on. Next up, we've got we have some couples who've answered a set of questions for us on each other on how they met and how they got together and things they know about each other and things like that. So we have these couples who've answered a lot of these questions, and so we've broken this up into two parts, right? So the couples that we'll be featuring in this segment are I'm sure you've seen two of these couples in various earlier segments. So Rajika from the batch of 72 and Mike Hosbrook from the batch of 68. The second couple is Shefali and Rukshad Dadaboy from the batch of 91. And the third one, of course, is more recent, Anaika and Pratik from the batch of 2006. So I don't want to say much more about the segment and the questions they've answered. So over to them. Let's listen in to what they have to say. So over to the video.
Hi, I'm Mike Hosbrook, 1968, batch Nilgiri House. And
I'm Rajika Nidev, 1972, Champak.
How did we meet?
It must have been 1961 or 62. I wasn't yet in school, but you had joined. And our parents got together at Founders. Our families got together at Founders. And subsequently, whenever they came up during Founders, we used to hang out together as children and became quite good friends.
Yeah, so we never went out with each other at school, but I used to think she was quite cute.
Hi, I'm Shefali, batch of 91.
Yeah, I'm Rukshad, and I guess we're from the same batch. So,
how did you meet?
I guess we met in school.
Well, we really met after school because in school, she was probably too snooty.
Oh.
But anyway,
or let's just say I was too tall.
So anyway, we kind of met actually after school, where Chef came to Chennai for some work, and if not for me, she would have been bored stiff over here. And she actually ended up, staying in some back of beyond place outside Chennai. So technically, she didn't come to Chennai.
Get started on that.
She asked me, if Ananagar is a nice place to stay, and I said yes, Ananagar is a nice place to stay.
I sent him the address where my office was going to put me up. This is late 80s. And he said, yes, Ananagar is a nice, decent residential area. And it turned out I wasn't staying at Ananagar Extension. In Ananagar, I was made to stay in Ananagar West Extension, and my office was in Mylapore. So every day it used to be a minimum 1 hour trek, thanks to.
So what got you or us through the COVID year?
Well, we were actually in India the winter before, and came back to the UK first week of March, and second week of March we had lockdown. So we were stuck at home, but we'd already started, and our intention was to move house. So we started looking for a house, and when the first lockdown finished, we managed to get a house and started the move, and just moved in to this present house, and the lockdown started again. So we're still in lockdown now, but we've been so busy with the move, packing, unpacking, and then renovating this house. And in one way, it's been a godsend that we had lockdown, because we've not been able to go and visit anybody, and nobody's able to come and visit us. So we just got on with all the work, and we still got a lot of work to do.
What got you through the COVID year?
Me, oh yeah.
Yes. Our two little brats here. Here's one, me, and the other one's asking us the question.
Next one is, who was one way home, or who chased whom?
Well, I guess I chased her all the way till Ananagar West Extension or whatever. I don't know about one way, but it was two way. She had to go back over there. No, she could stay in the office. So anyway, so yeah. So I guess one of the reasons why she, stayed so far away is because she kind of foresaw what would happen, and she likes long romantic drives. So she kind of, sorted it out now itself. So it's forward planning.
What sealed the deal, or what made you give a yeah? Yes, a yeah.
I mean, I think I gave her something which no other man has ever given a woman, and that was 2 dinner rolls. Every time I would meet her, I would buy 2 dinner rolls and go and approach her with it. A long story on why 2 dinner rolls, but uh, it was just fascinating. It was just convenient, and I guess she was fascinated with them, and that's what definitely sealed the deal.
So he believes. So he believes.
Who was one meaning whom? Who chased whom? Well, I did like her from class 9, and she didn't really know about it, so it would be a little hard to say that I was chasing her. But by the time we got to the 12th, I think it's fair to say that I was the runner and she was the chaser.
No! The question?
So, who was one weighing whom, and what sealed the deal?
Okay, I can tell you. Well, many years later, in 1976, I was working in London, and Rajika was also working, and she, on her work, due to her work, she traveled to London. And one day she came to see me, and it was from then on we started going out with each other whenever she came to London. And basically, it was me chasing her all the time. I asked her actually to marry me about 33 times.
So he says.
And
I have no recollection.
33rd time, she suddenly said, yes, okay, I'll marry you. And I said, hang on a minute, let me have another think. And she suddenly said, I'll give you 30 seconds only. So
And don't ever ask me again.
So I had to think really fast, but made my decision in 25 seconds and said, yes, I really wanted to get married to you. And that's when she said yes. So that's how it was. Okay, another question, Rajika. What is the best thing about being an OL couple?
I would say lots of shared experiences, lots of people we know from both batches. We don't argue when we have to go up for founders. We're very happy to do so. And there's a lot of lingo and people we talk about and reminisce and laugh. And of course, we have the greater OL family that we keep bumping into and reconnecting with. So it's never dull.
Yeah, we have a lot of contacts together, a lot of OL contacts together. So it makes it quite interesting and upsets a few people, mind you, because we only talk about school all the time when we meet another old Lawrenceian. And if you're not an old Lawrenceian, then you feel a bit left out of it.
As my daughter said, that her wedding got hijacked by the Lawrence School Lovedale crowd, even though her husband was from Lawrence School Sanaa.
What's that? Is that a school? Oh, yeah.
What is the best thing about being an OL couple?
I think the best thing about being an OL couple is that there are unlimited stories and unlimited inside jokes. And I don't know, it's just like always super fun to even tell new friends, because most of our friends are Laurentians, but new friends about Lawrence and how epic it was.
Well, I think the best thing is we've probably shared a good part of our childhood together, and we understand each other like nothing else. There's absolutely nothing that we don't know about each other, probably because we go back all the way to school. And it's also fun with all the OL get-togethers and gatherings. I mean, I guess it's like a trump card to say you're an OL couple.
Best thing about being an OL couple.
Well, I guess it's just easy. It's just you're used to each other's idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of grown up together, so you kind of just take the good and bad together.
As far as she's concerned, low expectations. So it's probably helped her a lot.
What does idiosyncrasies mean? How different is your partner from your first crush?
My partner and my first crush are the same.
Oh, no.
That's for sure not.
You have not answered the question. You telling me no. How about yes from you? Huh?
Yes. Same.
Same.
Well, so that was it was so nice to see those couples, speak about those questions and speak about those, answers, right, Karishma? Wasn't that
I
so nice
really
to
enjoyed it.
answer this question for you?
I love that they had so much fun with it. So
Yeah.
sporting.
Yeah, I completely got lost in the story, which is why it took me some time to get back into the studio.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really, really nice for all these couples to share with us all their lovely stories and give us a glimpse into their own romances.
Mm-hmm. And so that's going to really take us into the next piece, much in the same spirit of what we just watched. We're going to show you guys another montage of lives through the years of these OL couples.
I can't remember when you weren't there, when I didn't care for anyone but you. I swear we've been through everything there is. Can't imagine anything we've missed. Can't imagine anything the two of us can do. Through the years, you've never let me down. You turned my life around. The sweetest days I found with you. Through the years, I've never been afraid. I've loved the life we've made, and I am so glad I stayed right here with you through the years. I can't remember what I used to do, who I trusted, who I listened to before. I swear you've taught me everything I know. Can't imagine needing someone so, but through the years it seems to me I need you more and more. Through the years, through all the good and bad, I know how much we had. I've always been so glad to be with you. Through the years, it's better every day. You've kissed my tears away. As long as it's okay, I'll stay with you through the years. Through the years when everything went wrong, together we grow strong. I know that I belong right here with you. Through the years, I never had a doubt. We'd always work things out. I've learned what life's about. The loving you through the years. Through the years, you've never let me down. You turn my life around. The sweetest days I found with you. Through the years, it's better every day. You've kissed my tears away. As long as it's okay, I'll stay with you through the years.
Oh wow! So it was so nice to see those pics of those couples, and the one resemblance on this segment was that most of these couples were, from the, from the 90s and above. As I was going through the video, and most of those were from my time, because I'm from batch 96. So, I could relate to these couples, because I've seen them also, at school at some point in time, because they were there during my time. So it was so nice to relive those memories, right? And not to mention, not to forget to mention the song that you heard was sung by Sarita Ayana from the batch of 85. So thanks, Sari, for putting that together, and thanks for putting this lovely montage together, right? So we have one more of those montages coming up, so stay tuned, right? Moving on. So as an oval committee, we've not only featured students who met and started their life in Lovedale, but we've also featured some staff who also met and started their life together in at the Lawrence School, right? First up in the segment is Mr. Koshi and the interesting thing about Mr. Koshi is that he is an OL and a teacher from the batch of 65. And Mrs. Mary Koshi, or MKY, as she was known in my time, she was a biology teacher. So they met in Lovedale as teachers, and here's their story of how they met and their life after that.
Hello, folks. My name is Koshi, batch of 65, commonly referred to as Geech in school and even now. And this is my wife, Mary. She was known as Marthoma in school. And Mary, would you like to say your bit first?
You want me to speak first?
Yeah.
Okay. Koshi and I met each other as teachers, and we became friends. We had a beautiful friendship between us. We realized that we were compatible. There is a saying that goes like this: the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Okay, that's my bit. Now you say what you want to say.
Okay. Yeah, Mary, there's a lot of truth in what you say. And the gastrointestinal tract plays a major role in compatibility when it comes to husband and wife. And even today, I'm very grateful for all the things that you're giving me. But more than that, my version of it is this. The way I look at it is this. Our compatibility. My mother once asked me, "What did you find in Mary?" And I replied, "Why? She thinks me handsome, intelligent, educated, sweet, gentle, and kind." And then again, she asked me, "What did Mary find in you?" And I replied, "Why? She finds me handsome, intelligent, educated, sweet, gentle, and kind." Right? And even now, even today, all those feelings of love and these qualities, the virtues that I express is still the same. Thank you, Mary. We had a beautiful relationship, and during this COVID times, our relationship has even bonded even better. And we are doing so many more things together. I'm helping out in the kitchen, and I'm making bread also, thanks to you. So, what I have to say to you folks after this long, steady relationship that has bonded so well together is only this: concentrate on the present, and as the saying goes, eat, drink, and be merry, for this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. And now I'll play a hymn for you, my favorite hymn. I think you'll know the tune, but the words you can put it together. That's your part.
Wow, the truth certainly marches on. Thank you so much, Mr. Koshi and Miss Mary, for sharing your experiences with us. It was a really sweet story. At some given time during a one-way, there are those who have never actually given in order to get a yeah. But asking for a yeah is something that a lot of generations or batches may not identify with. A historic inquiry into this matter about languages and slangs from school has revealed that asking for a yeah is to ask someone out with the intention of a romance. While there are many people who may not have been able to get a yeah, there are some people who can't help asking for a yeah again. So in the stylings of Elvis Presley's classic, here's Porus, Mahesh, and Karishma bringing you I Can't Help Asking for a Yeah Again.
नादानियां नाफरमानियां माफ की जा सकती और हम तुम पर एक बार फिर मेहरबान हो सकते हैं अगर तुम अनारकली वापस कर दो
Stay away from days where I can help asking for a yeah again. Shall I try for a two-way with her? For I can't help asking for a yeah again. I hear the bells tolling on time for assembly. Sing song, she give a yeah, a two-way finally. Take my extra, take my extra virtue. For I can't help sharing my grub with Red Fort beckons me. You sure wonder if she'll see. Who knows? Will she give a yeah? A two-way we could be. Agreed to Takashinko's through. If I could get just one big yeah from you. If I could get just one big yeah from you.
Hi, folks. So, what we're going to take you into next is another one of those compilations. And what that means is we're going to hear from folks who very sportingly answered questions so that we may have a fun story time. And once again, you're going to see some familiar faces, some new stories. So enjoy.
Favorite hymn.
Ooh, you know my favorite.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Bring out the
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
What's your favorite hymn?
सब से सुंदर सबसे प्यारा दिव्या का
Chalo, next.
What is your partner's favorite hymn or hymn?
I know his is Abide by Me.
Abide with me.
Oh, sorry, Abide with Me.
And yours is George Clooney.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
Next one is movie dialogue that describes your relationship.
Movie dialogue. I mean, I like animated movies. I can't think of any comedy. Well, comedies, but mainly the animated ones. The bare necessities, no. Definitely not bare necessities as far as.
A school habit of your partner that irks you. Well, not a habit that irks me, but a habit that's still around. If there's anyone who knew Anika in school, she was always cold, so she'd always have her sleeves rolled up into her hands like that, and she'd always be like that. And that's something that pulls even now.
This is true. I think a habit of yours that irks me is that he continues to act like he's head boy. He's like, sit up straight, get in line. And he's always like commanding everyone around him like he's still head boy, and that's not going to change.
That's not true. Not true.
A school habit
We'll
of
ask
your
Mama to
partner
dance,
that irritates you.
Not having bath regularly.
Yeah, you don't need more than one a day. I mean,
He taught us that like this week.
yeah.
And we like skipped half of our baths and mom doesn't know.
I mean, when you need one, have one, yeah. School habits. This is one habit that irks the shit out of me. It draws my patience. Let's say, but it has nothing to do with school. But still, you cannot approach her bed with dirty feet or something like that. Oh my God! So finally, we've come to this conclusion that the bed has got a McMahon line or what.
Your kids to share a one-liner about what it's like to be an OL kid.
Come, Kian. What's it like to be an OL kid?
You get slushies at their reunions.
Get what?
Slushies.
Slushy.
Being sneaky?
Yeah. One way she used to make.
Okay,
She used to make what's that called?
In the boarding school that she was teaching in, kids used to sneak in Maggie and eat it.
Okay.
Who was teaching over there?
Rupika.
Rupika auntie.
Come on, Mara.
You get nice food at the reunions. You get like slushies and things like that. That's good.
Is that okay?
Her mother can't cook well, so we'll eat slushies in order. Huh? Mama's cooking is very bad.
What is the most romantic gesture that your partner has done for you?
I think the most romantic thing that Pratt has done for me is that he asked me to marry him underwater. The romantic part was not that it was, underwater and oh, what a great story. It's because he's scared of water and he was trying his hardest to stay alive while holding a ring, while holding a card that said marry me. So I think the romantic gestures that he risked his life for this proposal.
That's true. It was worth it, though, I must say. Yeah.
What's the most romantic gesture that your partner has done for you? Quiet.
I shall wait for him to answer that.
No, Mom, it's your turn.
Exactly. I've been doing 70% of the talking. Only here I'm doing 70% of the talking. Otherwise, it's the other way around. So, romantic gesture. Yeah, romance is overrated, man. Anyway.
What about the when you used to make breakfast for him on your anniversary on the terrace, and you used to get ham?
Yeah, so romantic I was.
Not you. She did that for you.
See, I am the one who did all the romantic.
No, but I do other things also, man.
Like.
She knows about it because it has touched her heart. We don't need to talk about it.
You took her to Vienna.
True romance is when it's not spoken about. You don't need to tom about it to Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Your saga. What is your sage advice to a single OL To get a yeah.
We'll allow the sage to give sage advice.
No, you are the one who had to chase to get a yeah.
Oh, that is also true, but you have advice, no?
Just be yourself.
Ah, there, see, I'm myself, no problem.
You definitely had a bad more often.
Super. So we had fun answering all these. I don't know if we were able to give you all the right advice or not, but all I can say is I think if you're just yourself, you'll eventually meet the person that you're meant to spend the rest of your life with. All right. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, last question, sage advice, right? So what's the sage advice to us old-aged people?
Perseverance, I would say.
Well, there's one thing comes to mind is never give in.
Or give up.
Or never give up, right? If you fancy somebody in school and you really fancy her, keep going. And even if you don't fancy her at school, chase after her afterwards, like I did. And you'll be happy as sandbag, as I say.
What? I don't know that expression. I keep questioning him on that.
Anyway, so never give in, never give up, right? Always
persevere,
chase your dreams, persevere, and
have a sense of humor.
You'll be
Very
successful
important.
in the end, and keep in touch with all your pals from your batchmates, your OLs, and you'll be okay. Okay, bye, and God bless.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
That was part 2 of our compilation on the OL couples, and we have a little bit left for you. But first, before we go ahead, here's a short look at one of our very own special half celebrity, half flying couples, Gul and Rishi. All right, so I think Gul and Rishi are coming on a little later.
And I'm Gul
in the
from
show.
96.
Okay, no.
And that's Nihal, future 36.
Okay.
So, how did you meet? We met through a cousin of mine. Of course, I knew he was in school. Okay, let me get that again. Of course, I knew him from when he was in school. I wasn't in school at the same time as him, but I'd seen him during Founders. And I sort of decided that he was the type of person I wanted to marry. So then we later met through a cousin. Who was one-weighing whom? Yeah, that would be me. I was... yeah. I was pretty much the one chasing him. What sealed the deal?
What sealed the deal? Yeah, okay. So what basically sealed the deal was that basically I gave up and she never gave in. So
I chased him till he had to say yes.
So that kind of sealed the deal. It was pretty much that way. What's the best thing about being an old couple? Well, the best thing about being an OL couple is that you don't have to suffer each other's batchmates and the stories. So
because you have your own batchmates to suffer and hang with.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know of the stories of her batchmates, but and she knows of mine, but we don't have to sit through in Founders.
For his stories and he doesn't have to sit through my stories, and I don't have to sit through his stories because we've got our own respective batches to hang out with.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, what got you through the COVID year?
What really got us through the COVID year was actually spending time at home with our son, and that wasn't the case before because we were both busy with work. So, we were locked up for 3 or more months, and yeah, suffered each other. But
I think we got the most time as a family together because of COVID, and we are actually very grateful for having had the uninterrupted, and we got the most time together as a family because of COVID, and we had uninterrupted 3.5 months together without having to step out. So I think it was a great blessing, and deeply grateful for that opportunity to be together as a family.
That's true. What's your partner's favorite hymn? Okay,
so mine is Never Give In.
Mine is let's see. Mine is Alo Amar,
Alo, Ogo, Alo, Bhuban, Bhara.
Yes, that's my favorite.
A school habit of your partner that irks you.
Well, so the school habit that really irks me of Gul is keeping everything tidy and neat and clean, and everything should be prim and proper. So that really gets on after some time.
The counterpane has to be perfect. The glass by the bed has to be perfect. The desk has to be perfect because I'm always ready for inspection sort of mode.
Yeah, and for me,
About him, because I think he's a bit of a bully, and I'm imagining that habit has come from school. He tends to sort of push his way through.
yeah,
Uh,
and
what's your sage advice to single OLs?
the sage advice to the single OLs is never give up, and then just give up.
As in, never give up when you chase somebody, and if someone is chasing you really hard, just give up.
Just give up. I mean,
And
there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point fighting the tsunami. Get your kids to share a one-liner about school. Let's see if we can get him. He's 3, so I'm not sure what he's going to share. So say hi. He's not going to share anything. Do you want to go to school?
Hi.
Hi. Do you want to go to Lovedale? Lawrence School, Lovedale? Yes or no? Okay, say hi.
Hi.
Do you want a yeah?
Ondia.
He wants a yeah. So clearly that's the one-liner. Thank you all for suffering us.
Thank you, Gul and Rishi, for sharing your story with us and also for giving us a lot of advice on how to get a yeah. There are many through the years who may not have been able to get a yeah and may have got more than their fair share of jobs. So here's Karishma with To All the Boys I've Chopped Before.
Yeah, he's still after me. He just gave me a necklace. I don't know, I think it's real diamonds. Yeah, he thinks he can impress me by giving me expensive gifts. It's nice, though.
To all the boys I've chopped before, behind the tuck shop or the store, I'm glad you're staying strong. You need to move along. To all the boys I've chopped before, to all the boys who feel the worst, who feel uneasy, about to burst, feeling little low, there's always tomorrow. To all the boys I've chopped before, the tears of grief are rolling every time I wouldn't stay. The tears of grief continued rolling, and it just tore your heart away. To all the girls who love you light, who will someday be out of sight, I'm glad you're staying strong. Just keep on moving on. To all the girls I've chopped before, to all the girls who sighted me and then turned around to run and flee. Don't tear yourself apart, you will grow back that hard. To all the girls I've chopped before, tears of grief are always rolling every time I wouldn't stay. The tears of grief continued rolling, and it just tore your heart away. all the chaps I've chopped before. From behind the tuck shop or the stores. I'm glad you're staying strong. You need to move along. And to all the chaps I've chopped before. To all the chaps who sighted me, then turn around to run and flee. Don't tear yourself apart, you will grow back that hard. To all the chaps I've chopped.
Strike a pose.
Thank you, Karishma, for singing that so beautifully. Well, that was a story of the chops, and which was such an integral part of the Lawrence School of Dale, wasn't it? Does it bring back so many memories of the chops that people have got and the number of chops that people have given? So thanks for putting that together, right? So like we mentioned in the earlier part of the segment that we had over 60 couples who we approached, and over 40 participated, and so that's the reason why the compilations have been so heartwarmingly given, right? So next we move into another segment of compilation of how people met and at Lovedale and their lives thereafter. So we're featuring three couples here: Meera Ni Balachandran from the batch of 80, and Gokul Krishna from the batch of 76, Roshan and Abu Abraham from the batch of 81, and Sunita from the batch of 88, and Thomas Vellapalli from the batch of 87. So let's hear their stories.
Hi guys, Gokul, 76 batch, Aravali.
Hi, Meera, Dev the House, batch of 80.
So, did we have a 1.5 way in school?
No, there's no halfway and all.
I remember vividly all the vantage points in school where I used to sit and wait to see you. And I think I knew the 8th class timetable much better than you.
Maybe true. That may be true.
Did I send over?
No, did you? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Another thing you haven't learned in school, you're supposed to say yeah or no.
Yeah, I definitely think we went to two different schools because he seems to know so much more than me. Definitely maths and science and all those subjects. Definitely.
Anyway, time moved on. I went to med school and had the odd fling or two, and you had loads and loads and loads and loads of boyfriends.
Loads and loads and loads and loads. Okay, all right.
Anyway, at this point, I think we should mention one of our Lovedale teachers, Mr. Rajan Thomas, who was in touch with me and helped me keep track of where she was and what she was doing.
Yeah. Sir, if you're watching, it's all because of you. And yes, he did keep track of me, and he used to send me these little cards which said, "You're the sunshine of my life." And another one which said, "You're special, especially to me." These are not reflected now, okay?
Anyway, we decided to get married, and that's another big story. So if anyone is interested, please come and visit us at Southport. We will discuss that over a very long drink and lots to eat. It's 30 years now, and I would definitely recommend a Lovedale girl.
Oh.
We've learned a lot from each other. I still dance quite a bit to her tune now, and I think she speaks with a lot of conviction about a lot of operations. I don't know how. So to all you young guys out there interested in marrying your puppy love, never give in. You will get
And
there.
to all the girls, expect more than egg on bread, please, in your tuck shop. I hope it's a lot better now than it was before.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Roshan.
and I'm Abu.
We are the batch of 1981, and I guess we met in fourth standard in 1972.
Yeah, the psychological trauma of Dame Touch must have driven those memories out of my mind.
So we became good friends in junior school, and we started going out during +2.
Yeah, and after that, after +2, we went our separate ways, but kept in touch. And we got married 9 years after we left school.
Being married to an OL, I guess the main advantage is that we have so many common memories, common friends, and we really understand. I think we know each other really well.
Our sons groan at our jokes because they're so many of them are connected to what we've shared in the past. And Roshan's got some.
Oh, yes. You asked about a favorite hymn. We live by the seaside and we often walk down to the water, and occasionally we spot seals. And Abu sings, what is that hymn called?
Battle Hymn of the Nation.
Battle Hymn of the Nations. And he whistles that to the seals. And he is convinced that they respond.
Yeah. And just reflecting on our relationship, we were both prefects in our year, so there's an old joke, and it's a corny one, but Roshan says my humor's got worse since I had the COVID infection. But anyway, so I keep telling her that she's still my vice, and I'm still head over heels for her. Okay. And that's it. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Thomas Velapilli, batch of 87, Sumeru.
And I'm Sunita Ramakrishnan, batch of 1988, Pankaj. How did you meet?
Many moons ago in Lawrence School, Lovedale, for one of the Republic Day dances, I saw this pretty girl on the dance floor, and I went up to her and asked her for a dance, and the rest was history.
Who was one-weighing who?
Okay, actually it was me, I admit it.
What sealed the deal? Well, you know how starved we all were in school, and I wanted to get a steady supply of Amul chocolates. What's the best thing about being an OL couple?
We have a lot of friends in common, and you relate to the old school stories which never get old.
And the best part is your spouse won't complain about hearing those stories many times. What's your sage advice to single OLs trying to get a yeah?
That's easy. Never give in. And chocolates help too.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you guys for those fun stories. And, I really love that PJ about you're my vice and I'm still head over heels in love with you. Oh, how sweet. I kind of chuckled at that. Thanks for sharing that, guys. And also for all the advice on how to get a yeah. I hope folks who are single are tuning in to this advice. What we have next is another musical number by another OL who's a songbird. This is Elizabeth John Zachariah. Of course, in school she was known as Elia. She was my senior. She's from the batch of 2001. She's going to sing for us When You Say Nothing at All, the song popularized by Ronan Keating. Please enjoy.
It's amazing how you can speak right to my heart. Without saying a word, you light up the dark. Try as I may, I can never explain what I hear when you don't say a thing. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best, you say nothing at all. All day long I can hear people talking out loud. But when you hold me near, you drown out the crowd. Try as they may, they could never define what's been said between your heart and mine. Smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. The truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll carry wherever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Okay, so I'm sure that uh, whoever has put out these photographs, for us, and who has compiled them for us, and for all the ones who've taken time out to send these photos to us to relive the memories, a big shout out to them, and also a big shout out to Ilya for singing that so beautifully for us. Thanks so much for all of that. It just brings back such a nice Valentine's Day touch to all of those photos and the songs, right? Moving on, right? I think we're going to be doing part two of our old teacher couple memory lane, right? This is a teacher couple who uh, who met in school, right? And perhaps here's a little trivia that perhaps they are the only couple who, in the history of the school, probably who got married in school in the complete presence of all the students at the JJ Hall. Right? I'm talking about none other than Mr. Ganeshan, VG, and Sujata Ganeshan, SG. I've been fortunate enough to be taught by both of them biology and chemistry in various classes, and Mr. VG was my housemaster in Aravali in '96. So here's their story of how they met and their journey together. So can't wait to see that.
Hello, everyone. It is such a great feeling to be a part of this special OL community. In fact, it is a privilege to be a part of the OL community. This chapter in my life is not something that I have spoken about much. This was way back in 1990, when I was quite new to the school and just getting to know the place and the people. The RMTs, who many OLs fondly remember, were among the few of my acquaintances. I first met Ganeshan and got introduced to him at their house. I'm not sure if any of us were weighing the other. The few conversations that we had in the badminton courts, I thought were very casual. Yeah, but he was the one who proposed to me, again at the RMT's house. He actually quite surprised me. After a couple of days, he asked me if it was a yes, and I said yes. What made me say this, I really don't know. Maybe it was the moment. In any case, it was Lovedale. Love is in the air. At the end of it, if you think, he's a wonderful human being, and that is what made it click. As an OL couple, we feel very special, more so because we created history in school. Ours, I think, has been and probably will be the only wedding held in the school, that too in the JJ Hall, with the students in attendance. In that sense, this was unique. COVID definitely proved to be a blessing in disguise. We actually spent a lot of time together, which we have not been able to do for many, many years now. We really enjoyed that togetherness. For over 20 years now, we have not been together for the very important days in our lives, like our birthdays or wedding anniversaries. What really I look forward to are the flowers he sends me on my birthday and the Valentine's Day.
SG, that was so fun. Vinod, thanks for bringing that back. Initialisms. We call teachers by their initials. So SG was definitely my first science teacher in school. It was so wonderful for you to share that story with us. And for a lot of us who didn't know about the history that you made, thanks once again for sharing that with us. We've got one more songbird for you guys. Folks who've been tuning into the OL Assembly will have heard Anchal Bordoloy sing before. She's from the batch of 2016. She's going to sing for us Falling in Love at a Coffee Shop. Please enjoy.
I think that possibly, maybe I'm falling for you. Yes, there's a chance that I've fallen quite hard over you. I've seen the paths that your eyes wander down. I wanna come to. I think that possibly, maybe I'm falling for you. No one understands me quite like you do. Through all the shadowy corners of me, I never knew just what it was about this old coffee shop I love so much. All of the world I never knew. I think that possibly, maybe I'm falling for you. Yes, there's a chance that I've fallen quite hard over you. I've seen the waters that make your eyes shine. Now I'm shining too. Because I've fallen quite hard over you. If I didn't know you, I'd rather not know. If I couldn't have you, I'd rather be alone. I never knew just what it was about this old coffee shop I coffee shop I love so much. All of the world I never knew. All of the world, all of the world, it was you. I think that possibly, maybe I'm falling for you.
Oh, that was so wonderful. Anshul, if you're watching, hope you are. I love your throaty gorgeousness of a voice. Thank you so much for sharing that gift with us. Anyone else, guys, if y'all are inspired by all of the different talent, like all kinds of talent that you've seen today, do reach out to us and participate. We're coming close to a wrap. I'm joined by my co-hosts here, and I'm going to hand over them for some announcements.
Yeah, thank you, Karishma. So before we sign off, just a reminder that the OL Nation is coming to you on Feb 27th. That's the fourth Saturday. That's a knowledge sharing session. And of course, yes, we already have an exciting March lineup for you on the OL Assembly on March 13th. So please do tune in to both these occasions and let's have some fun.
Thank you, Vinod. And thank you all for being such a wonderful audience tonight. It's really great to have all of you in this special journey with us on the special Valentine's Day Assembly. But just before we wrap up, let's have a quick look at all those enthusiastic OLs who have put their heart and soul into making this Valentine's episode. If you want to be a volunteer as a part of this group, please do reach out to us on the numbers at the end of this assembly. Have a great Valentine's Day, everyone.
Stick around.
Keep your eyes on the road, your hand upon the wheel. Keep your eyes on the road, your hand upon the wheel. Yeah, we're going to the roadhouse, gonna have a good time.